Alrighty, welcome back everybody to the 26th week of our Tech Bytes JavaScript session. We have made it to the 6.5 month mark. Way to go. It's been a long journey, as we were talking about before the start of class. And if you're coming back from our web development course, welcome back to the 18th week of our web dev course, where we're doing all things related to JavaScript. As always, we see a bunch of new faces here in the crowd today. So as we're going through today, make sure to ask questions, get to know us, and we'd love to get to know you guys as well. And a quick synopsis, if you are new watching the video for the first time as well, we'll be explaining who we are, but at the Schaumburg Library, we run courses relating to computer science, teaching computer programming languages. And today we're going over the language of JavaScript, doing some fun activities with that. But you can catch us every other Monday at 4:30 as well, doing the language of Python. And with these languages, if you've never heard of them, we make some pretty cool projects on our computers, which can do a lot of cool things, which I highly recommend for you guys to stop by. But yeah, let's get towards. If you do not already know who I am, guys, my name is Rayan Siddiqui. I'm a senior at the local James B. Conant High School, along with my partner, Labdi. Love to program, made multiple apps for the App Store, made a dozen different websites, run a sports talk show on YouTube. If you would like, you can check me more out on my website at rayansiddiqui.com. And I have a realistic fiction book about a high school student's journey into the world of tech coming out later this month. And you're probably noticing the new face we're talking about. This is my partner, Labdi, who recently joined as well.
Hey everyone, thanks Ryan for giving me the stage. I am Labdi and I also go to the same school as Ryan. I'm a senior at James B. Conant High School. I love programming, and specifically I really like algorithmic programming in Python and Java. I have participated and won a bunch of hackathons, which I love. And some hobbies outside of programming are oil painting, singing, and sports cars. And a queer fact about myself is I really like cardamom seeds.
All righty. So guys, since we do have a bunch of new faces, we're just going to be going over some household items, that being how we usually start off. In these courses, we like to start off with an agenda for the day. We go through that, and then we make our way completing each item on the list. As always, when we're going through, we love hearing questions. You can either personally message us through the Zoom chat feature, or you can even drop it in the question and answer session, and either me or Labdi will be sure to get to it. But today, as you probably saw in the first slide, this has been going on for nearly 6.5 months now. And if you're coming a bit new, that is totally fine. We'll have some new courses launching as the new year comes about in January. But unfortunately, this JavaScript course hasn't reached its final month, meaning this month of December is the final month. So we're going to first get off started talking about the new month, our schedule, what we plan on accomplishing in this final month, hopefully have a joyous final December. And then we're going to be starting some new activities today. Lab, do you want to talk about what we're going to be doing for the next couple things?
Yeah. Sorry, I was on mute. So basically, we're going to start with a bell ringer. And in that bell ringer, we're going to be given a single problem, which we're going to solve using coding. And then after that, Ryan will go through a quizzes that we will go through together, just a fun activity. And yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have been, I see a couple names who have been with us for the past couple months. You probably know that we've had a cycle of coding, making projects, learning new things, having some fun facts here and there, and coding more and more, you know. And for this final month of December, we thought that how about we finish off in a relaxing but enjoyable fashion. And that being with doing some more engaging activities with you guys, and also seeing who is taking the most away from these classes, doing some fun games like quizzes, which we'll be doing today, and probably what you guys have played in middle school as well, like Kahoot and Gimkit. So really glad that you guys are here. And how about we firstly get started off with the thing Labdi was talking about, a thing you probably done in class called a bell ringer.
Okay, so these types of problems, like small problems that are given and we usually solve with code, they come everywhere, from competitive programming in competitions like USACO to even job interviews when you go into Google potentially. And that's what they ask you to solve a single problem, like some sort of graph or substring using numbers, while loops, conditionals to basically finish a task correctly. So today, our problem is to create random 7-digit numbers from this array 9873260 the numbers can repeat, but one thing we have to make sure is that 0 cannot be the first digit, or else it won't be a regular number, as we know from math. So yeah, let's go into JSFiddle.
Yep, Lobby, I'll give you sharing, so it's I think that'd be better. And as
Perfect.
always, guys, in case you are new, JSFiddle is the website where we do all of our programs. So as Lobby is getting her screen on the Zoom chat, I would highly encourage that you guys open up JSFiddle on your end. Here is the link in the chat if you would like to open, and we'll be going through it together.
Perfect. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Justice, you got a question?
No. Okay. If you guys have any questions, just put it in chat and raise your hand or QA.
Yep.
So to start off, I will just put in the problem that we had. So create random 7-digit numbers from this array, and numbers can repeat, but 0 cannot be the first number. So just gonna run that. Next, I will start by creating a button, and this button will say click me. And on click of this button, we will run our function, which will be called clicked. And this function will be linked to our JavaScript, as we know. So we're going to make a function, clicked. And just to test out that everything works so far, I'm just going to put an alert right now. This is a good kind of exercise to do while coding, just to make sure everything works at every step. And it does. Perfect. All right, so first we will need a kind of a database of the numbers we can use to make our random 7-digit numbers. And to do that, we can just copy this array that we are given and make a basic like array DB to be equal to, I'll just keep it array to make it simple, to that array that we're given. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 digits. And those are the digits that were given from the problem. So right now we have an array that we can use to make our random numbers and a function that runs on click of the button. Well, now what? So we want.
Okay, quick question. So guys, before we go on, Lobby purposely, we did not include something, and we will see if anybody can catch that. Can anybody see what we're potentially missing in our JavaScript? Do you want to give a hint, Lobby, of what we're trying to catch on?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. So we made a variable over here, but in JavaScript, in order to make a variable, we need to use var.
Yep. There we go, guys.
Right here. There we go. Perfect. Sorry about that. So now we have an array that works and a function to be on-clicked. Now, what we do is we need what will return or what we will print on alert is a string that will be a number. So we'll need to make that string. We're going to call that number. And the string will have length 0. So it's just 2 quotation marks. Then we will have 7 digits for the numbers. So in order to do that, we're going to use a for loop. So for I is equal to 0, I is less than. Now over here, I can just do 7 to just repeat this loop 7 times. But to make this whole code a little bit more abstracted and not hard coded, I'm just going to use the length of this array so that we can change the length of the array, and then it'll change the length of the number that gets printed. So I'm just going to say array.length. and then I++. So we have a for loop here, which will run 7 times. Now, what do we want to do for 7 times? Well, we want to add in a number to our string over here. And that number can be a randomly picked number from this array. So we're gonna do number equals number plus a string. So how do we do that? Well, we're gonna first, let's just add in a digit from this array. Let's not keep it random for now. So let's say array, let's see, okay, perfect. Array, and then let's just put in with index 2. Now, if I just alert number at the end, and then save, run. Click me, it just does 7 sevens because 7 is digit or the second index starting from 0, 1, 2. So instead of just doing 7 sevens, we want 7 random numbers. So this 2 will need to be a random number from 0 to 6. And if you guys remember from before, in order to make a random number, you do math dot random, and this will make a random number between 0 and 1, which will be a decimal. So we multiplied this by 7, but now this whole number is still a decimal from 0 to 7, excluding 7. So we want to floor this. So we'll do math.floor this whole number. And so what this gives us is a random number between 0 to 6, 0 and 6. Okay, and let's run this. Click me, and there we go. We get a number. It doesn't look random right now, but it actually is random. So we get a random number that is different every single time because we're using this math library and a random function from that math library in JS. Now, one last part of this question says, we need to make sure that 0 can't be the first digit or it's not a good number. So, I mean, we haven't gotten any number with a 0 as the first digit, but we still have to make sure that it doesn't come. So how do we do that? Well, we'll be using a while loop. So while what? Well, okay. So we need to say that while the first digit is 0, we'll need to replace it by another random number. So while number dot substring, here's another function of JavaScript that we have learned. So substring just takes a number of characters from a string, and we just want the first character. So we're going to do 0, 1. So we want to say that if the first character, the first number is equal to 0, then what? Well, then we want to replace that number, and in JavaScript there is a function called replace. So we're going to replace that number, that spot in the string. So the spot is 0 because that's the first character in that string, and we're going to replace it with what we added in here. So a random number from that array. So if we just copy that and paste it in here, it will basically run this while loop until the first digit of the number is not 0. And it'll just replace that 0 with a random number from this array. So if we run this, finally, I mean, we don't see any zeros, and that works.
Yep.
It's hard to actually run and then find a 0 because what's the probability of getting one of these digits in the first character? But yeah, this is the logic for not getting a 0 for the first character. But yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And Lobby, could you console, because I don't know why we can't see the alert for some reason. Could you put in the output box? Yeah. The number alert, like you know how you're alerting the number.
Oh, can you? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. That's weird. Yeah.
What? I'm gonna do number.
Yeah. So just so everybody can see what the number is being, you can probably see it now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that. I'm gonna click. It's gonna alert, and there we go.
There we go.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. So we just solved a problem to create seven or a random number with 7 digits using how many lines of code? Just 19 lines of code and well, some lines of HTML, but 3 lines of that is just text. So yeah.
Great. And guys, as always, if you have any questions, thoughts you want to share, why did we do something a certain way? The chat is always open. I know we got some new faces here today. So if you're at all confused as to what any of the lines mean, we are more than happy to help. So we'll leave the floor open for a couple minutes if anybody can think of anything. Otherwise, we'll get started with our next activity. All right. Okay. So yeah, Prisha. That's what we were talking about at the beginning. Well, firstly, welcome to our JavaScript course. This is a course which is ending this month, and basically, JavaScript is a programming language. It's a language in computer science. It's this idea of being able to make a website, make web pages, and today, JavaScript is just one of the many languages which we talk about. And today, we were solving a problem. I highly recommend that you probably use YouTube, right? If you go to YouTube and search up the Schomburg library, there's a playlist called Tech Bytes. And if you go to the earlier videos, you can find out some more basic examples we started off with. We got a whole bunch of, are you in the Google Classroom as well? We got a bunch of resources there as well.
Okay, she's in the classroom.
All right, perfect. Yeah. So I can show you as well. So thank you, Labdi. That was our. This is a new thing which we started off with this week, going off with some bell ringers, talking about some problems, and now we'll be making our way on to our next activity.
Augustus, I think you raised your hand. Is there a question?
Hello, this is Emma Donahue speaking to you.
And guys, I guess if you have a question, you can definitely drop in the chat. But here's what I was talking about. If you search the Schomburg Library on the YouTube channel, head on over to the playlist tab, scroll over until you find a playlist called Tech Bytes, and then there you can find a bunch of old videos we have. And I highly recommend if you want to start off with the earlier videos. That's when we were doing some basic stuff, and then we progressed into building more of a foundation and starting to build some cool projects. All right, perfect. All right, so now, after our bell ringer start off today, how about we make our way over to reviewing some old concepts? Our goal throughout this month of January is to make sure that we have covered, and you guys know, of the most important concepts and main takeaways. We built some cool projects. You guys have shown them and shown us as well on live Zoom as well. But how about now we recover and talk about the stuff we have covered? And in order to do that today, we're going to be doing a quiz game show on the website called Quizzes. So I will be putting the code up and the link to join as well. If you head on over to joinmyquiz.com, it'll be in the chat too. There you go. And do not worry, guys, if you do not play super high. This is just to see where we're at. And then afterwards, we'll go over some of the questions as well. Very awesome, Ayush. Hello, Prisha.
I believe that's 5.
Oh, yes. Okay, we got 3 of it. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's get started. I believe with quizzes, we have to wait until you guys finish up, and then we'll go over the questions. All right. So let's try to get above. How about a 70? How about we try to get near an 80%? 75 and above accuracy. That'd be pretty good. Let's see where we are at. My justice jumping up. That's so good, Ayush.
We got pre-show with a streak of 4.
It seems like there's no music being output from this. Let me try to share some. Oh. You guys hear that? All right, there we go.
Yeah.
We got Prisha and AK Vistad going in a head-to-head battle. And sorry. Anthony jumping back up.
Got Augustus with a streak of 5. Nice job. We're going to the final stretch. Let's see. All right, Prisha staying in the lead. Five more minutes. Alrighty. Ayushi, I'm sorry. Looks like you were not able to get back in. That is totally fine. But we got Prisha, who placed in first. Congratulations, Prisha. We got a 54% accuracy, which was pretty good. You know, it's the first week of December. Hopefully, as we progress and recover and recap more and more contests, we keep on building that up, getting to that 70% mark as well. But how about for now, we take a look at some of the questions which we have missed, and then we can go over them. So it looks like they sorted by
color, and it tells us which one we missed the most. All right. So number one, everybody should know this one. Come on, guys, this is the language we've been doing the past 6 months. Which language? Carol, we have not done. We've talked about JavaScript, of course, and Visual Basic is a totally different language. We covered JavaScript. That was the answer. And does this show correct answers so I can show you guys? Yes, oh, that's all right. All right, so moving on to number 2. Looks like we had a bit of a trouble on this one. Which of these is a loop? Remember, guys, a loop lobby just used in a program. A loop is either a while loop or a for loop. And through using a loop, it does basically what it says. We can run a command multiple times. The first option is an if statement. The third option is just a regular declaration of a variable. The third one is something completely different, something which we've not even covered yet. And number 2 is a while loop, which is exactly what we are looking for. Lavin, you were just talking about number 3. Do you want to cover why the answer is 1 and 5 inclusive? So it should be letter A.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, math.random takes or it gives a random number between 0 and 1, non-inclusive. So it can be 0.6789 and then 0.8, 0.9, but not 1. So basically, if you multiply that by a number, suppose 5, you'll get a you'll get a number from 0 to 4. Yep. And if you just add 1 to that, you'll get a number from 1 to 5.
Exactly, yeah. And guys, number 4 looks like we did amazing on. That's perfect. Everybody knew. Number 5, we had a bit of trouble. So which of the following will decrease the value of the variable x and store it into a variable? Remember, when we are dealing with a variable, so say the answer in this scenario is letter A, because if you take a look at the second option, I'm calling all these in alphabetical order. So this is A, B, C, D. Letter B is just decreasing the value of the variable. It's not storing it anywhere, right? Because there's no equal to sign. The letter C, that's just saying whatever the variable is, set it equal to itself. That doesn't really make sense. And letter C is turning it to the opposite. It's saying that if, say, the number is 5, it's saying make the number into -5. And letter A, this is a shorthand method for us saying x equals x minus 1. And it's decreasing the value of the variable x by 1 every time. Number 6, we're talking about greater than or equal to. Remember then, we're saying greater than or equal to. So that means that we're going to look for these 2 symbols when we're talking with JavaScript. If this was Python, then the first option would be right. But remember, since we're talking about in JavaScript, if we're talking about just greater than or equal to, we can do letter C actually when comparing a variable. So if we're just looking for the statement greater than or equal to, we can condense it into one statement. It's a bit different. You know how in real life we can write out a greater than or equal to symbol by doing the greater than sign and then the equal to symbol below. Well, in JavaScript, we can just do the greater than sign and then add the equal to symbol after if we're comparing some numbers. Moving to number 7, it's asking how can we replicate his name is Fred and he is less than 16 years old. So the main thing which we want to take away from this statement is that word and. So we're saying the name needs to be Fred and he needs to be less than 16 years old. So remember, when we're comparing a variable and checking if it has a certain value, we always use the double equal sign. So it looks like this answer does. And we're checking, remember the and is representative by this double and sign. And the age is less than 16 years old. This other option is saying if his name equals Fred and his age is less than 16. Looks like that's a typo. We got 2 correct answers.
It's the single equal sign, I believe.
Oh, I didn't even read that. Yeah, there we go. Yep. You got 1 equal sign right there. Letter C, same problem. It's single equal sign, and letter D, 3 equal signs, which is not what we are doing. Number 8, we're talking about repeating an action 10 times. Remember, whenever you hear the word repeat, immediately link the word repeat to the word loop, either a for loop or a while loop. So whenever I hear this word 10 times or repeat, I'm looking for a for loop or while loop, which is going to run 10 times. Now, we can condense that to letter B or D. Now, the reason why it's letter B is because this is a for loop running 10 times, while letter D, that's a for loop which only runs when the value of a variable is 10. So it's not guaranteed to run 10 times, which is why the answer is letter B. Letter 9, when we are done with the line, what do we put at the end? This is the basic. As always, guys, we're not going to be adding a quotation mark, not a period, not a colon. always adding a semicolon in our JavaScript. When we surround a word with quotes, like say the word David, we're surrounding it with quotes. What is it called? Remember, any word, any variable which has quotes around it is always going to be a string. A loop is always going to be signified as for or while loop. A program, that is way too general. A command, that is way too general as well. What is a variable? Remember, guys, we like to use the analogy that a variable is a place where we can hold data, right? It's like a box where we can store stuff. So a variable is going to be a container where we can manipulate and change its value. So in this case, the answer would be store values in containers so we can use them later. Exactly. So it's letter A. Moving on to number 12, a short form of writing the word variable is var. That is absolutely correct, and all lowercase as well. Number 13, what is the correct way of declaring a variable to hold the number 10? Remember, guys, when we are declaring a number type variable, so it's not a string variable, we're not going to add quotation marks around it. And plus, this doesn't have the semicolon to it as well. However, letter A, it has var x equals 10. And when we're declaring a number and assigning it to a variable, that's the correct way to do it. Letter C, that is totally incorrect. It's not just writing plain out English, right? And letter D, that is not declaring a variable. That's just setting the variable, the value of a variable later on in your program. So the answer is letter A.
Oh, sorry. I was actually wondering if that worked or not. I just tried to Google it.
Does it? I don't know. I'm so used to doing var always.
Because it worked for one of my other functions. So one question I had was, does setting a variable without a var in front of it, does that work as well?
Oh, okay. You know why I'm thinking? Because, okay, so it's about that idea of the global or local scope where it's accessible. That's why. Okay, yeah. So you might be noticing that it's similar to, in a sense, Python. You know how in Python we just simply write whatever variable we want. So in this case, if I'm pretty sure none of us in the crowd knew this, but if there's a difference between a local and global scope, depending on where we're using the variable, we can simply just declare it as x equals 10. Moving on to number 14, we got another question right here. This is, remember that idea with a law called DeMorgans Law. It's concerning how and statements and or statements affect our if statements. So in this case, we're asking his name is Johnny, or the keyword is or he is 5 years old. So I'm looking for if his name is Johnny in quotation marks and looking for these double straight lines which signify an or statement. And or he is 5 years old. So letter B will be the right answer there. Moving on to number 15, which concept allows us to extract a certain amount of letters? This is something which Blavdi was just doing in a program. Remember how she was able to extract a certain letter and checking if, like in the scenario, the first number could not be a 0. So she was using the idea of substring in order to check if that first number was a 0. So remember, whenever you hear something about extracting or taking some letters from the larger picture, it's always the idea of substringing. Letter 16, which of the following commands guesses hello from the variable x equals hello world. So remember, guys, a key detail about variables we've talked about is the idea of index. Although there are 5 letters here, the letter H is at the 0th index, letter E, 1 index, the letter L, 1, the second L, the 3rd index, and the letter O is at the 4th index. So if I want to grab the word hello, I have to extract from the letter H till the letter O. However, we've talked about the substring function. It's exclusive of the second number. So naturally, I would want to do substringing from 0 to 4. That'll extract the word hello. But remember, the 4th letter is always going to be exclusive, which is why we always go 1 up and we substring till number 5. So in this case, the right answer should be letter B. Moving on to number 17, guys. Which of the following is an acceptable line of code in JavaScript? Well, letter A, that makes no sense. We're decreasing the value of a string variable. You cannot do that. Letter B, that absolutely makes sense because it's a number variable. We can decrease the value of a numeric value like that. Letter C, that's the right answer as well. And letter D is the right answer as well. So there were 3 correct answers in this scenario. Oh, what's the probability of there being 3 correct answers? And is everybody getting The one wrong answer. Wow, the chances of that happening, that's pretty slim. Number 18, which of the following, oh, this is, remember something we've hammered away. Guys, if we see the word for, we're always connecting it to a for loop. Remember, there are two types of loop, a for loop or a while loop. If you see a for loop, it starts with the word for. If it starts with the word while, it is a while loop. And then for each loop is something different, which we have discussed in Python, but not with JavaScript. Number 19, which of the following creates a button in HTML and links it to a function called run. And everybody got that perfectly. That is amazing. Remember, the answer should be letter C, because we have a button, which we're connecting to the function on click to a function called run, and then whatever we want to call our button with the end tag. And then we have a write one fun fact we have learned in the past 3 months. So let me see if I can pull that up. Is there a way I can see what you guys put? Can I not see? Oh, it might be because he's not done. Give me 1 second, Sayush. I think I'm gonna have to boot you out. Sorry. Can I still not see? Oh, I think I have to hit end. Okay, 1 second. All right, so we'll see if we know that Prisha got number 1. Congratulations, Prisha, once again. Anthony, AK, Anna, good job to you guys as well. Hopefully now we can see. Oh, there we go. All right. Maybe? Oh, okay, here we are. Let's take a look at the last question. All right, so. All right, so nobody had a fun fact to share. Well, we have covered a bunch of cool things, guys, whether that be talking about how we can apply JavaScript to cars and how cars can drive themselves, like an example being with Tesla, how JavaScript is used when flying spaceships into space, JavaScript being used in the election, being used to track COVID-19 cases. There are a whole fledged bunch of answers, but if you do not know any today, that is totally fine, because we're covering a lot every day, and we've covered a bunch in our old videos as well on the YouTube channel. And yeah, so that brings today's day to an end, a bit more of an interactive. Hopefully you guys had a great, fun time today. But till this ending of December, you guys can expect much more of a similar class style. Not going to be making more projects as we finish this course off, but yet doing more bell ringers, some fun class games. And next week's focus will be more on the array side. As always, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving break last week. And from me and Lavdi, see you guys next week.
Bye.